Hey everybody, to detox a bit from the recent videos covering heavy and depressive topics, today we're going to have some fun going through some funny unhinged people who totally lost their minds over Markiplier having used ChatGPT a couple of times. These people got so amazingly mad at him over this that they were sending and justifying death threats over this. I swear man, the world has gone insane. And what's even more insane about it is that Mark doesn't even have any spicy AI takes at all. Like, Mark isn't out here doing edgy videos, praising generative AI for example, or trolling people with it. In fact, he doesn't even like it and is trying to support an AI model that doesn't make use of other people's art to generate its own images. More on that later. And besides that, he actually has reservations in regards to AI, worries about its misuse in the future, corporations meddling, and some views that are very centered on caution. It's just that he has also seen the advantages that AI has brought and can continue to bring when it comes to areas that can help humanity, like for example in medicine.
Now, I'm not saying I'm unfamiliar with it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not denying the me talking about it. But what people seem to miss the context of, because it always comes down to that, is the context of is the vast majority, especially, and I will say, I can't promise at any point I was not excited about it, because as a technological development, there is a reason for some people to be excited about this. And it's not for the reasons that you might think. I'm not shouting that, yes, it's great that it takes up so much power. No, there are serious medical advances and there are serious legitimate uses to this technology and the research that is being done to it. However, right now, the main problem that we face is that every single company in existence and the governments thereof of the countries that those companies are in are all throwing billions and billions of dollars and man hours into building these AIs, which are not even real AIs. That's a whole nother subject that I'm going to get to at the later end of this stream. But they're throwing so much money into it that kind of laws and regulations go out the window.
Which is a very healthy mindset to have when it comes to AI. He obviously doesn't outright demonize the entire thing, he sees its obvious value as a tool, but also its potential dangers and problems. I would say that as avid gamers, we can probably relate with the amount of goddamn video game villains that were AIs. But anyway, this group of people attacking him for it is that group of unhinged people. If you're a recurring viewer of my channel, you know precisely the type of people I'm talking about here. The clinically demented, the insane, the nutcases who escaped the Arkham Asylum. For these fine people, it doesn't matter how great of a person you are, it doesn't matter how progressive you've always been, it doesn't matter how many of your stances they agree with or how much you've done for things that they care about over the years. One slip-up is all that it takes to get them to wish that you were never born. And boy oh boy, Marky Mark over here stepped on one hell of a landmine. So we're gonna go through what happened, we're gonna have some fun along the way, and then I'm also going to talk about the topic a little bit, but I'm going to focus mainly on how it pertains to art and the games industry. It's a thing that I've been asked several times before in comments, but I just never really found an excuse to make a video on it. Until now. So let's just get in there. Oh, first off, in case some of you may somehow not know who Markiplier is, as I found a few comments on social media saying, "Who?" Well, Markiplier is a huge guy here on YouTube, and I'm not just talking about his
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.
He's up there with big names like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, MrBeast, etc. He was very popular back in the simpler days of YouTube playthroughs, where he would play random games and also some horror stuff while reacting to it. Ah, the good old days.
What a fucking
He is a relatively non-controversial figure. Like, he said some things here and there, it's normal when you've got millions of followers, but surprisingly not much at all. It all fizzled out quickly and smoothly. But this time, oh no, he is cooked this time, guys, thoroughly. He's done. He's not escaping the allegations this time around. It's over for Marky Poo over here. He messed with the wrong guys. Yeah, nah, this one's actually going to fizzle out even faster than the ones on account of how stupid it is. In fact, I take so long to put my videos together that by the time that this video comes out, 10 internet years will have already gone by. It's funny how it even surfaced to begin with. It all sort of began with this post. Markiplier, one of my favorite YouTubers since I was 14, is defending AI and uses it. Somehow, this took off, accruing millions of views, and the dude followed up with, "For those who want confirmation, I didn't get the chance to sit down and check it myself, but it was in the latest Distractable podcast. He was using ChatGPT as its Google technically, and it made me so fucking upset." Man, that's just sad. That's some sad shit right there. I'm not gonna lie to you boys, that's a sad one. So basically this guy is watching an episode of his favorite YouTuber's podcast, and then Markiplier whipped out his phone and asked ChatGPT a question, and that's it. It made the dude lose his mind because that's all it takes. Merely using AI, no matter what it is for, no matter what the fuck, no matter what you think about it, it throws these people into a madness spiral. I feel like you would have a less aggressive reaction if you were caught with your pants down in church. Then it all got worse as people began piling on with all of these other pointless little instances of Markiplier using AI or talking about it in a way that did not please these fans of his. Pointed out that was one of his videos a few months ago where he also uses AI. This is the video, by the way. I'm gonna show it to you.
I was just wondering if you could tell me what the protein profile of sunflower seeds is.
Yeah, hey, sunflower seeds are a good source of protein. They contain all essential amino acids, but not in perfectly balanced amounts. Typically, they have around 20 to 25 grams of protein per 100 grams. They are especially rich in methionine and cysteine, but lower in lysine, so they aren't considered a complete protein on their own. If you combine them with other sources like legumes, you can create a more balanced amino acid profile.
I didn't listen.
No worry.
Oh. What about the water?
What about the water?
It's stealing the water.
Where?
I don't know how it works. I've been told. It's taking the water.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Well, okay, so the thing about that is in computers, data centers need water. Do you know why?
Cooling.
Yes, cooling. So that's what they're doing. That's what they mean when it's taking the water.
Who takes more water? Okay? Mm-hmm. ChatGPT or almonds?
Let's ask ChatGPT. Hey, what would consume more water? The data centers that power you and your ability to answer my questions, or almond growing in all of California?
All almond farming in California uses significantly more water than data centers. Almonds require around a gallon of water per almond, which adds up to billions of gallons annually. Data centers also consume water, especially for cooling, but the volume is much smaller compared to large-scale agriculture.
You're not just saying that because you're ChatGPT and you wouldn't want to be accused of stealing too much water, are you?
Nope.
So all he did was ask a dietary question to ChatGPT, then his buddy made a comment about, oh, the water, but the water, which is a narrative that these people like to bring up about AI, and Mark just used it again to ask which of these things consume more water, liquid cooling for the AI servers, or the whole almond milk bullshit over in California, which, if you recall, is already something that has been used before when counter-arguing points from vegans or other folks who do this whole eco-friendly thing, but never call out their own problems, such as the devastating amount of water needed to make a single liter of almond milk as a replacement for cow milk. It's 371 liters, by the way. Now I know some of you Americans are getting your guns already. Calm down. In freedom units, that comes down to around 98 gallons of water just for 0.264 gallons of almond milk. It's actually insane how much water this takes. Like, I'm dumbfounded. I don't even know how they discovered the process to making this. Like, I have a feeling that if I was the guy, like after 20 or 30 gallons of water, I would have just quit. Like, ain't no way that this bullshit is sustainable, man.
Ask a question.
The big issue
I'm just
here.
curious what you eat. Do you eat almonds?
I'm here to talk about the climate crisis.
Answer my question. Do you eat almonds or drink almond milk?
30 million people in
Do
Pakistan
you drink almond milk?
have been affected
Do you
by
drink almond milk?
severe floods.
Do you drink almond milk?
I drink plant-based milk.
You do. And do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet.
Do you eat
We're
avocados?
asking the government.
Do you eat avocados? Yes?
A leading study from...
Do you? Look, it's an interview. You don't just answer different questions. Do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet, which
Do
is...
you eat avocados?
Yes.
Yes, you do. Great. Do you know how avocados and almonds get made?
Absolutely.
You do.
Yes.
So you realise that in California, every year, for 6 weeks, they fly in billions of bees to create your almonds and avocados, and in that process, several billion bees get murdered. This is a bee. Right? That's a bee. That, last time I checked, is a living animal. Billions get slaughtered so that you, sitting here, pontificating in between smashing up our buildings, so that you can have your almonds and your avocado. And I say to you, why don't you care about the little guys?
Can I say that
It's total hypocrisy, isn't it?
98 gallons of water just for 0.264 gallons of almond milk. Now we know where all the water to fight those fires went. Am I right, fellas? Anyway, Mark wasn't even really taunting anyone here, but these people don't like facts being thrown around or research that doesn't line up with what they're pushing for. It's a very unhealthy way of going at things. Like, if you're going to stand against something, at least research it so that you don't look stupid. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of maniacs shouting on the internet and doing what they did next, which we can see right here. The dude posted that while searching up, he found that apparently anyone who brings up Markiplier's AI usage in any subreddit of his gets banned. What he didn't mention is that they get banned because things have gotten so out of hand with these people losing their composure over AI that things get super heated in those subreddits and have resulted in death threats. So the moderators started banning the topic altogether.
On the subreddit, it was banned. The discussion of it was banned. And that was not my decision, but I still defend the mod's decision to do that, because for people that are wondering if the mods getting death threats was a thing, it was a thing. It still is a thing. And part of that is the reason why they implemented the rule in the first place, is because the discussion became incredibly vitriolic.
And usually I'm against doing something like this, especially if it's a case where nothing wrong is happening and we're talking about a product that you buy, like a game from a company. Like, for example, I don't like game subreddits or forums banning people asking normal questions under the guise of, oh, this is harassment. Like, for example, what happened last year with Obsidian. But this here with Markiplier hits different. Like, he is totally justified in what's going on. Him and his moderators. I mean, this is insane. I would have done the same thing, especially when their comments are always like this, where even if Mark makes a 1 hour long video explaining his take on AI, detailing precisely what are the things that he worries about and understanding people's concerns with it, being cautionary about it, understanding why people want to boycott it, etc., he's still going to get misrepresented by those morons saying he said things that he didn't say, among other things that we're about to get into right now. And I mean, what are we doing here? Like, of course, ban them, get them out of the fucking subreddit. What do you mean? Like, why drain your patience and well-being on nutcases who are straight up not equipped to have a normal, mature, civilized conversation? These people show up, set fire to everything, and then it's like, oh, you gonna ban me? Oh, you gonna ban me now? Oh, so you're banning me? You're banning me? You're banning me? I can't talk about you banning me? My brother, please go drink some water, put on something relaxing on TV, put on some, I don't know, Sesame Street or Coco, I don't know, man, whatever, Teletubbies, something, and just take a chill pill, you know what I mean? Just relax, just take it easy, everything's fine, just relax, calm down, take a breath. Isn't that better now? Honestly, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Like, look at this one here. Change it for the better. I think Mark is really missing that most people's definition of changing AI for the better is to remove it, and all the people who relentlessly continue to push it forward and degrade the modern world and Earth with it entirely. Like, this is fucking moronic coming from an account named World Ender, and also totally living on the moon if he seriously thinks that that's most people's definition. Like, nah, that's most people's definition based on their echo chamber. It is totally unrealistic to deny the advantages of AI as a tool for various things that I already mentioned. Markiplier's take is one that would actually resonate with most people because it is one that acknowledges both the reality of those advantages and the reality of the problems it brings, especially at the end of corporations dumping billions of dollars into AI research without any ethical boundaries nor any care whatsoever for its consequences in some fields. Most people aren't out here going full, Austrian painter on people who use AI. We must remove it and all the people who relentlessly continue to push it forward. That was a bit French actually, I'm sorry about that. In fact, I think that when it comes to most people in the world, they either don't care about it at all or they even like AI. Like, why do you think there's so many ads out there for apps and services that feature some form of AI functionality to sort things or generate tattoo images, etc.? If most people in the world were truly against AI, we wouldn't have advertisements openly announcing that their product is using AI. Let's check out another one. Mel, she, her. Okay, this ought to be a good one. He paid and used AI, which poisons black communities and the environment, to understand it, when he could have just done research instead. This is such an ignorant statement and pulled out of his ass to make himself look smart, and you, his fans, fall for it. You're spineless. Says the retard writing this on Twitter, a website that actively uses and contributes towards XAI's continuous AI development. That's just number one. Number two, research with what? Like Googling it, where an AI prompt from Google Gemini immediately pops up, scouring thousands of websites and giving you information tailored to your research? It's running constantly. It doesn't go away. Like, look at this. Why did the eagles fly Frodo to Mordor? Bam. There we go. The eagles didn't fly him to Mordor because it would have compromised the secrecy of the mission and played into Sauron's hands. Coupled with a few sources on the right, if I want to check where the information was sourced from. AI is all around us in some form or another. We are funding it, and regardless of our consent, we are helping to train it. It's not even a matter of whether or not this is good or bad, it's a matter that it is happening, and demonizing a guy for just using the fucking thing while actively speaking against it is ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, number 3, what the fuck does this have to do with black communities? Are we really going to pull the AI is racist card now too? Here's another one. AI is poisoning the environment and all the pollution is being aimed, take special note of that, at black populations. And another one, stop using AI, period. How the fuck can something be used for good when it is poisoning black communities and using our drinking water to function? Y'all are actual fucking morons. Well, this is simple actually, just look up any of the AI advancements and you will find various ways where it can be used for good. Also note the use of our drinking water, where she is once again making this an entire racial thing. And here's another one for good measure. Y'all don't give a fuck about black people or literally anything else. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, motherfucker. Man, let's get into the black allegations then. The truth is that wherever these data centers exist, there is going to be more pollution because of their energy and resource consumption, and these corporations often pick poorer locations where the land is dirt cheap for them to buy and start building, and where they'll face lower chances of political risk. And over in America, these areas tend to be predominantly black areas, like for example Bogstown, Memphis. However, on the flip side, XAI also did bring the promise of hundreds of new job positions opening up to locals, as well as a $150,000 grant to support workforce training in that area, at least in lower positions, because sadly, when it comes to tech, the black community is underrepresented. It's just an area that they don't seem to get into as much as other groups. That's also why I hate the word represented or representation. It makes it sound like it's someone else's fault when sometimes it's just normal shit where people are drawn to different things. Like, there's no one blocking black people from entering into tech. In fact, over the past few years, with DEI initiatives in various companies, if anything, they've been holding the door wide open to minorities so that they could increase their diversity. But again, in tech, they are still underrepresented. So when it comes to these higher positions where experts on the field of AI or engineering are required, they're often filled by someone non-black who they hire to move over to those facilities, like Murahar, for example. There are things that we can acknowledge here for sure. The truth is that yes, these centers are usually built in predominantly black areas in America, and yes, they bring consequences with them such as air pollution and the aforementioned water consumption. But these are issues born from the goddamn corporations who are, again, going nuts in this metaphorical, although potentially also literal, AI arms race, with, again, no regards for ethics. It's not inherently a problem with AI itself. It doesn't take away the good shit that can come from AI. Let's say that you've got a Chinese AI or some shit whose facilities were built in China, far, far away from predominantly black neighborhoods in America. Why the fuck would it still be a problem to use AI then? Hell, it's not even a specific thing targeting black people to poison them. It's just a consequence of them wanting to save costs as much as possible. If it was cheaper to set up these AI centers at Disney World, they would be building them over there and polluting the air around children instead. No one is specifically targeting black people. No one is specifically stealing their water. And frankly, this constant victimization and hyperbole is tiresome and never solves a goddamn thing. It just takes away from the argument and makes it pathetic, honestly. And the sad reality here is that it doesn't even matter if Mark or you or me use ChatGPT or Google or Grok to look something up or to generate pictures of Spider-Man. This AI research and push is going to continue. The Pandora's box has already been opened. Companies and governments want this big time, even more than us. So it's not going to go away. And finding solutions to its issues is going to be a lot better use of our time, people's time in general, than fantasizing about it going away. Now let's continue with the rest of the video. We're gonna dive a little deeper now. If you're enjoying the video, do consider giving it a like to help out the channel.
There are serious medical advances and there are serious legitimate uses to this technology and the research that is being done to it. However, right now, the main problem that we face is that every single company in existence and the governments thereof of the countries that those companies are in are all throwing billions and billions of dollars and man hours into building these AIs. That kind of laws and regulations go out the window. The actual reaction that people are having to this is a natural cause of this threat to their livelihood, to their ability as an artist, to everything that they're doing. And that is incredibly valid because we're all part of the same mud here. I'm on YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. The videos that I make are part of what helped fund Google's Gemini machine. It's why Google search is pretty much destroyed. I'm complicit in the problem, but the alternative is to not make videos at all. And it's not something that I want to do because I enjoy making content. The way that it works inside is so unknowable that even the companies making these and touting and putting their billions of dollars in it don't understand how it works. I'm on your side. I'm on your side, but I'm more of the alignment with the awareness part of it. I get the wanting to boycott it. I understand that. And I think that there is something to be said about that. However, we're all up against these giant mega corporations and they're not going to stop.
True and fair. And they're using us in its development too. Like, a tool like this isn't just something that you would ever get for free anywhere and in under any other circumstance. Just think about all the shit that we usually already have to pay for. I'm talking in general, like subscription services to access content, programs and apps for us to make or edit content, be that video animation or image or coding, etc. Hell, even text. Even Microsoft Word, PowerPoint and Excel are things that you have to pay for. And yet, here we have Google putting up Gemini, compiling hundreds of thousands of pages of data and giving you free summaries of it. And X putting up Grok totally free of charge, which you can use for just about anything you can think of. There's even image generation now, with more functionalities for just a few extra bucks a month. And there's also video generation through the app version of it on Apple devices, plus that companion mode with Annie or Valentine. Of course, there's also ChatGPT, which does the same thing where you can use it for free or pay a few extra bucks for functionalities through different tiers from 20 bucks and upward, so on so forth. Extremely powerful tools that are extremely useful and extremely expensive to develop, just all right here, within reach. And the way that our society is laid out, from all of the years that I've been alive, there is just no way at all that such a goddamn tool would ever be available for free or for just 20 bucks a month. Especially a tool like this and the many others out there integrated on websites and shit, which is powerful enough to generate fake shit that gets more and more realistic every day. In my mind, the reason this is so cheaply and readily available is because it's literally using us to get better and more advanced. I don't think that it'll be this way forever, of course, but it sure as shit feels inevitable regardless, you know what I mean? As we proceed through this video, where I go through what I think of its general use in art and gaming, I will touch on some negatives that I feel towards AI, but one thing that these people who treat it like the boogeyman should realize is that, again, the Pandora's box is already open. AI is here to stay. I don't see a reality where we just go back to not using it at all. AI kind of just clicks with us. It's kind of like our phones. We're basically, to an anecdotal extent, cyborgs already because of just how much we depend on our smartphones. And I don't even mean it in a derogatory boomer-like way of like, oh, you're addicted to your phone, young man. Like, no. I mean this in a totally normal way. Like, for example, how we store all of our phone numbers in there from family or businesses, etc., emergencies even, and the way that we use our phones naturally in our day-to-day to check the time, use as an alarm, call people, text people, check important news, check our emails. I use it to set doctor's appointments. Some people use it as a fitness companion, calorie calculator, something to pass the time, or as a GPS to not get lost, so on and so forth. All that is missing until we are actual cyborgs in a more literal way is if our phones were physically attached to us. And AI, whether we like it or not, fits like a goddamn glove. In fact, it goes right into our phones. Like, when it comes to me personally, whether it exists or not doesn't really affect me, at least not directly, and I suppose at least not right now. The most use I get out of AI right now is sometimes I find shit posts on X and then I tag Grok with a question just to meme on it. A couple days ago, I tagged Grok in a post of Tectones and we had a back and forth about the probability percentage of him being gay, and the result, by the way, is that Grok believes that chances are above 50%, so do with that information what you will. But I do believe that I am benefiting from it indirectly. We all are. We're also being fucked by it indirectly though, of course, because that's just what it is with AI. It's a powerful tool that can do both good and bad. Again, it's the same thing with our phones, for example. We depend on them now. Everyone around us has one, yet their mass production obviously has environmental impacts too. It's just that I suppose as a society we look at those impacts and we deem the phones to be more important, or at least worth it. Like, I'll touch on the artist angle later with a bit more depth, just bear with me here for a second, but I was studying design in school. It was actually a thing that I was thinking about pursuing and that I even did a bit of work with for a couple of years, although with absolutely terrible pay because it's just a tough job in my country. Probably in many other countries, to be honest. Like, overall, I think there's just too many artists out there and too little demand for the amount of us. I mean, to be an artist, you don't even have to go and goddamn study anything. You can just set up a page, say that you're an artist and you do logos or whatever, you know, you get my point, and you will get work. And if I wanted to be an extra salty little fuck and do what these people are doing, where they demonize an AI for taking jobs that are meant for them because of it being an AI and not a real person, then I could say that these random people who just know how to draw and use design software like Photoshop and Illustrator, for example, are taking jobs that are meant for actual designers who spent time and money studying it and graduated. But anyway, that's not really relevant right now, so let's just move on and revisit this later. In order for me to get any work at all, I had to undercut all the competition up to a ridiculous point where it felt shameful to be selling myself so short. But at the same time, the work that I was doing wasn't really worth all that much money either, because people generally want a quick logo or just a quick business card or just a quick banner for their social media or website or whatever. Or sometimes I didn't even have to make anything, I just had to take images of their logos and turn them into vectors so that they could use them on clothes, for example. It's obvious that with the advent of AI, where anyone can now just open up Grok either for free or literally with just like $8 subscription and generate a logo for themselves in about like 5 minutes, this already counting with several prompts trying to get it just right, because at the end of the day, you ask for a logo, you actually get it in less than 10 seconds. Obviously, this shit is really bad for me as a designer. I was doing this stuff part-time, never as a main job. I served tables, made toast, and occasionally food for boomers, and then if I got lucky enough to get an email with a request, I would do it at home. If not, business as usual. And ever since I started YouTube, and I got the ball rolling last year to the point where now, if I had to make logos or whatever, it would straight up not be worth the time. Like, my free time would be much better spent working on a video rather than on a logo or whatever. That's how little I was getting paid for my work. Fuck, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, despite now focusing more on YouTube, I never even sent emails to some of my regular customers saying, "Hey fellas, I'm out of the game, don't send me work anymore." And still, I never got any work anyway. Like, if my memory serves me right, at best I got 2 emails. That's it. The only people who still send me work are family members. Like a few months ago, a cousin of mine sent me a logo that his daughter generated on ChatGPT and asked me if I could turn it into a vector version so that he could have that sewn onto clothes and printed as a vinyl to stick on his business's door. And I wasn't even mad at him for doing that, because I literally do the same thing. Like, as a small business owner, which is what he is, he's not rich, not even in the slightest, why would he head out there and hire a graphic designer, pay hundreds of euros, if he was lucky, for someone to make him a new logo? Hell, even if it was less than 100 euros, why would he do that when his daughter could just get on ChatGPT with him, throw down a few prompts, and get a nice, normal, elegant looking logo for free? That's the thing with AI too, you can generate like 50 of them and pick one in an afternoon. It's not just the convenience that is ground shaking, it's also the flexibility. I've also done work for my brother, both for his wedding. He had a wedding, he liked to have like fucking gay stuff all over the place. Not a gay wedding, but regardless, it didn't matter. Had to make some gay stuff, because his wife wanted it. You know how it is with women, they like cute sparkly things and all that.
Women.
He also has his own little business. I helped him out making some logos and some banners for his social media pages, and this is all stuff that if they didn't have me to ask, they wouldn't really go out to a designer either, because the prices are insane, so they would likely just turn to AI as well. Like, at the end of the day, it just is what it is. Small business owners and average everyday people really cannot afford a designer either way. A lot of people like to look at the situation and say that AI is taking work from designers, but I guarantee you, once again, they would not have hired a designer either way. I think this example, despite it being a personal example from, my own life, does serve for millions of people out there in the same position. Many of which we can frankly see driving down the road. Like, how many times have you guys noticed work vans or guys in work vests, etc., with a terrible fucking logo plastered on it, which it usually is just some big letters with the name of the business like Francisco and Sons, and then some shit that they copy pasted off of Google like a wrench or something, and then below it says plumbing. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me because of always having this interest in design, but I noticed that all the time here. Ugly ass logos that I wanted so badly to redesign for a price. Oh, I loved the idea of it so much growing up, but it was just a pipe dream here, because these small businesses straight up cannot afford it. And some might even be able to, but they just don't think that it matters or that it makes a difference. They would rather take that money and invest it into something else in their business. So anyway, sorry for my huge detour here, but hey, at least we covered the art aspect. We'll return to it in a bit, so just remember this part for that part as well, because it'll all be, cobbled together. Back to the thing though. Obviously, AI has a negative effect on me in this sense, because if before I was getting next to no work, then now I would be getting a whole lot less. But I don't know if someday I or someone I love will fall sick with some shit that AI will be used to find a solution for in the meantime, you know what I mean? A lot of people benefit from AI when it comes to medical stuff, and AI itself as a tool is not inherently bad. AI could help us solve a lot of problems, it just depends on who's using it and what for. Like, let's say that you're an ultra progressive person who wants to heal the world. You'd be far better off focusing your efforts into taking AI and using it as a tool, as a force multiplier for your efforts and ambitions, rather than demonizing random people typing gibberish into a fucking prompt. At the end of the day, I think that was the core of Markiplier's message. Not just that, but also keeping an eye on AI and advocating for ethical use. And that got totally misunderstood by his detractors because their anger is so out of control that they can't even fucking think. It makes them even stupider. It's this total allergic reaction to the truth that it makes them have to lie to themselves and say the most ridiculous shit you've ever heard just to never concede a point or acknowledge reality. Now, a huge part of AI discussions comes down to art. And Markiplier also got into hot water over this because he used a couple of thumbnails that were AI generated. Though in one of the cases it was back when he was just curious about it and the tool was good at generating a nightmare face that he just used in a heavily edited thumbnail. No big deal of course, but as usual weirdos have to spaz out about everything.
So there was a time when I believe, and honestly I should probably, people are very valid to say this, there is one thumbnail in particular that I can say had something from there, which is Simulacra 2, I believe. So it was still composited into other things, but I was like, oh, it's good at making nightmare faces, so maybe I'll make a nightmare faces. And I totally acknowledge I haven't even thought about that until this all came up. So I'm perfectly happy to go back, change that, get rid of the thumbnail. In fact, I'll do that after this stream, right? This is all just something that I was posting as of this morning, so.
The other occasion was even stupider because he didn't even know. He was taking images from a stock photo website and it happened to be an AI generated one that looked way too real. Let's be honest, there's really no issue here either. He fixed it, changed it, explained it, and he even said the example of stock photo websites flooding their libraries with AI slop instead of actual photos was a problem that he was already warning people about before and that would eventually lead to creators not being able to avoid using AI indirectly even when they don't want to.
But there was a plague that was going into these stock photo sites. And that's when I started to realize how bad this was really going to be. You would get to the point where you would not be able to tell, or it would be difficult to tell. Now I'd say I have a pretty good eye for it, and I think I can tell what is and is not AI.
Mark is also supporting a foundation called Real Good AI, which focuses on development of ethical AI that avoids scraping copyrighted material. So basically, an AI brand that tries not to steal anyone's art while doing its own generation. And of course, as usual, these morons don't even care about that. They don't even care about how good it is, they don't care about how that could change things in the future. It's just, if it's AI, it's AI, and AI is evil, and therefore he must be cancelled. That's it. And this is where I would like to now talk a little bit more about this angle here to do with artists, outside of the stuff that we already touched on a second ago. A lot of artists out there feel extremely concerned and put off by AI because it not only scours the internet to use other people's art for its own learning and image generation, but it also simultaneously takes away work that could have ended up going to them. Same situation with small business owners going for AI to get a logo instead of a designer. Now apparently, some people, if they want a picture of, I don't know, Spider-Man...
I need photos! Photos of Spider-Man!
This is a poetry journal.
Okay, then poems about Spider-Man!
They can just freely generate one instead of commissioning a designer. Now, there's a couple of sides to this. On one hand, you can't blame people to go for the cheapest and most convenient thing available. People don't owe anyone any service. One of the instances of this that bothered me was a few months ago when the entire internet was taking pictures of themselves and putting them in a ChatGPT or Grok or whatever and asking the AI to turn them into a Studio Ghibli style image. Tons of people flooded the internet with these pictures, just having a nice innocent time with a gimmick. A little internet trend, like when we were all trying to figure out the color of that demented dress. Some were even using it to turn memes into Studio Ghibli style memes instead. Isn't it nice to have a cute little internet trend every now and then where we can all join in together and have some fun without fucking screaming at each other over politics or whatever the fuck? Well, apparently not, because a lot of these crazy assholes just jumped out online bashing them for doing so, just losing their composure over couples taking selfies and turning them into Ghibli pictures. Fucking Mike Tyson did it too, with a picture of him and a bird, and people flooded his comments like, "How dare you? You're a millionaire and you're using AI instead of commissioning an actual artist." Here's a news flash for all of you out there. Nobody was going to fucking commission you for a Studio Ghibli style picture, okay? This became a cute little internet trend because of just how accessible, convenient, and fast AI was at turning pictures into Ghibli images. Oh, and also, duh, it was free. This wouldn't be a goddamn trend if people were ordering these images from artists taking like a full goddamn day just to make one at a time. Even if they were free, which we all know wouldn't have been. This is part of that same old concept with small business owners, where just because you find someone using AI to generate an image for whatever purpose does not automatically mean that an AI artist is losing work. More often than not, the person generating that image was never going to be commissioning anything to begin with. In fact, the reason they're commissioning the image is likely because they don't have the funds to get a designer in the first place, especially if they deem that the service that the designer is going to be providing has a result that is way too similar for them to the one that they get out of AI. And you can argue that this isn't true, but at the end of the day, subjectivity is always going to be a problem in art. That's why there's people praising a banana glued to a wall. But the most important part here is that when it comes to small business stuff like just a logo or a banner for a website or whatever, yeah, it's true. I'm sorry, but it is true. Small business stuff, AI is perfect for it, because more often than not, people just want something simple and direct. However, some people out there also get way too edgy, cynical, and nonsensical with their GigaChat views that, oh, if AI can do better than you, then you suck and you shouldn't be an artist in the first place. This is a sentiment that I believe I've heard Asmongold say before, but I'm not entirely sure when it comes to him, so excuse me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But I definitely heard Tectone say it himself just a couple of days ago actually, and it's something that is echoed by other people online whenever these debates pop back up. And I just don't like them. I get the sentiment, but it's just, nah, I don't like it and I don't buy it, and I think it's a cop-out, and I also think that it's unfair. Because at the end of the day, it's like I said earlier, some businesses may even prefer a more personalized touch, something more, a little bit stronger when it comes to branding, which they would get from a designer rather than going through prompts, which, let's face it, is not perfect, but it's just that at the end of the day, they would rather have something that's not perfect for free, or for like 8 or 20 bucks, than spending way more money on a designer. So it's not that these designers are shit at their jobs, it's just that you can't compete against a machine that'll churn out like 100 designs before you can even make one, especially not under a broken economy where small and medium businesses straight up cannot afford your services, unless you significantly lower your fee, which, I mean, I did, and it wasn't worth it. It wasn't allowing me to live off of being a designer. Like, at best, I was making a few extra bucks to be able to buy an extra video game at the end of the month. Though I did say earlier that part of why this is also unsustainable is because there's too many designers and too many self-appointed artists out there and way too little demand. And yeah, it's true, like there's a lot of independent artists out there doing their commissions and stuff on social media, and you know, there's two avenues here. On one hand, I feel for them. I do, because life sucks, and the number one thing that people usually want to do for a living is whatever they like to do most, and whatever brings them less turmoil. And so, of course, a lot of these artists are barely making it out there because they want to do their art for a living, and there's already terrible demand for it, and now with AI, the demand is going to hit rock bottom, because even if I'm like some random dude who really wants a cute drawing of like, I don't know, Bulma drinking a pina colada, I don't even have to go and commission one of these poor artists to do it and charge me however much they would charge. I can just use an AI, ask for it, and a few seconds later, voila, here it is. Sure, it looks kinda lame and lifeless. Also, the cup has cat ears on it, I don't know why, and it has 2 straws, and admittedly, it doesn't feel as personal as if I had commissioned this from an artist that I already like and follow the work of, and who I'd like to support, but here it is. It was free. It took 2 seconds. It's Bulma, she's drinking something, and it happened in the blink of an eye. I could probably get a more vibrant background, a better cup, no cat ears, and no additional straws if I cared enough to add a few more prompts. I just don't. This serves the example perfectly already. And in regards to the personal touch and wanting to support a artist that we like, not everyone cares about it. I can say that I personally care about it, but I'm the minority. And it also depends on utility. If I'm looking for something for a business reason, like a logo, I have 0 personal attachment then. It's just a logo, it's for my business. If I get a machine to crank one out in a few seconds, I'm not going to feel any different. So when it comes to this stuff, I genuinely get their struggle and their anger at this existing and being so readily available. But then there's also the other avenue, which is where we kinda just have to slap some reality down on the matter, which is that if you're a struggling artist already, even before AI, you just have to consider the possibility that this just isn't viable. Doesn't even matter if you're good enough or not. Like, in my mind, I believe that I was good enough for my design work, at the very least good enough that I could get started and then grow my skill and become even better, and yet I never managed to make it work. It was never my main job. I had to move on and do other things. And I think some of these artists out there just keep denying this reality while expecting other people to now sustain them as if it was some kind of duty. Like as if it was my duty to go out there, look through a list of artists doing commissions, and commission the stuff that I want from them rather than just writing a prompt into a chat window and pressing a button. That mentality is just unreal. I'm sorry, but it really is. And if we go down that road, it doesn't even end there, if we're being honest. Like, if there's some kind of duty to do that, then honestly the next step would be to make us scroll down the list to the poorer artists, so that we would be supporting the absolute most needy ones out there, rather than the ones that are more well accomplished and are on top of the list. And then another thing that bothers me is that these artists refuse to use AI when actually it would benefit them immensely to work alongside it. AI doesn't have to be a slop-churning generation machine. It can be a very useful and effective tool for them to use alongside with their personal skill, touch, and talent. An example is you could draw a rough sketch of a character on Illustrator and then put that through AI to color it and add details according to your desires. Then you could go back and hand draw some extra details, you know, like what the armor looks like, what the sword looks like, plus the background, etc., and then go back to AI and get it to color it again. You could try to simulate lighting on it to make it look better. You could cycle between various color types and texture types to see what would fit better for the image that you're making, and you could do it like this in instances instead of having to redraw the entire thing. You wouldn't be cheating if you did it, you would just be using it as a tool. You know, like, this isn't going on an AI and being like, generate me a picture of Bulma drinking fucking pina colada. This would still be your original work, your vision and your guidance. It's still you doing the goddamn thing. You're just using a tool. It's the same way that designers, for example, spend their money on these cool tablets that let them draw on them, or even the very act of spending money on expensive programs like Adobe. At the end of the day, these are all technically cheats that help bring out an artist's talent and get their vision out onto a canvas. Just because some other person is using it to generate slop does not mean that you using it makes your work slop. If you work hard and your talent shines through, you're still going to have a place when it comes to being an artist and getting commissions. Because at the end of the day, if it comes down to people wanting something really good for their brand, and so they open up AI and they try to generate it, but all that comes out is slop that just doesn't hit that one thing that they really want, and then they randomly find your page and you're an artist and you use AI to complete your best work and blah 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 blah, they might actually look at it and go, well, my garbage that I generated is kind of okay, but damn, that artist's work over there is on a whole other level. Maybe I should commission them. Shit, at least it'd be better than being a Luddite shouting at people online and demanding that they commission you out of some false sense of virtue, principle, or pity. An artist is an artist, it doesn't matter what tools they're using, so long as you're actually using it as a tool and still making your own original work. Although I know that some people online call themselves artists because they type prompts into ChatGPT and generate crap, and then they're like, okay, this is nice, but now I'm going to change the feet, and now I'm going to change the sun, and now I'm going to change the background. Oh, I don't like the shape of that shrub. Can you please make the shrub triangular instead of rectangular? Oh, can you add red and blue flowers to the shrub? Please add 2 or 3 clouds. You know, they just go on and on and on, prompt after prompt after prompt, and then they come out like, look what I made, I'm an artist. I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about actually working alongside with it. This specific part of this issue doesn't make any sense to me, because it's like if an artist who only draws on paper got all up in arms against digital artists who draw on Illustrator or GIMP or Photoshop, etc. It's like, yeah, their art is probably going to look better than yours, but it's your choice not to use it. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this stuff. Am I way off? Honestly, I could go on and on when it comes to this topic, because there's things where it fits and then there's things where it just doesn't. For example, if you're a writer and you're using AI to write your story or characters, then obviously that's entirely different. AI is doing your entire job, and your own style, creativity, and vision for your work isn't making it into it. Same with music, for example. Maybe it even sounds fine, but it's missing creativity born of the human element. We'll get into how important this is in the next topic about gaming. But when it comes to art, specifically with drawn art, I don't see this as cheating. I find this simply using a handy tool, because in the end, it's still your drawing, your details, and hours of your editing. But I am curious about what you guys think, because I do believe that when it comes to the creation of art that goes well beyond a simple use of a logo or a banner to advertise your business, or a random picture out of curiosity for fun to post on social media, like the aforementioned Studio Ghibli stuff. Like when I'm talking about real art that is meant to evoke emotions, like a really good game or like music, I do think that the human mind and experience will never be beaten. Of course, not everybody is a creative genius, obviously, and of course nobody can beat the expediency of AI, but the very best that we have created would not exist without us. And that's why it's worth it to preserve an environment that allows artistry to flourish, rather than an environment of shunning artists simply because AI can cheaply spit out something generic in 2 seconds. Clearly, I'm a bit split on this regard, but anyway, let's move on so we can explore this further in the last topic about gaming. I may not fully agree with that narrative of like, oh, if you can get replaced by AI, then you ain't worth shit in the first place. Like, no. I don't like that narrative at all. Tectone even said this in the context of content creation. Like, if we ever get AI streamers and he loses all his viewership because the AI streams are better than his, then he's fine with admitting that he ain't worth shit. I think this is a totally retarded way of looking at it. I think it's also needlessly edgy. It's like something I think that we would find on a subreddit full of 14-year-olds, or maybe like from a Destiny stream. There's a lot of factors that go into this. You can very well be way better than AI, but for example not have the ability to prove yourself because you're human and the market is fucking overtaken by slop getting cranked out by machines 24/7. Like, looking at the content creation thing specifically here, since Tectone mentioned it, make it make sense how anyone would ever be able to compete with a broken platform with tens of millions of videos being cranked out every day, literally overflowing everyone's front pages and video suggestion boxes with AI-made dog shit. You could even have the best damn content on the planet. If you cannot get found and watched, you will be in obscurity forever. And by forever, I mean a couple of months before quitting entirely because you just can't afford to keep trying anymore. Honestly, even without AI, we already see this kind of thing now. I've seen great content creators making better videos than some other content creators out there who have more visibility. For example, I've recommended this channel to my viewers before, Jennifer Rolls or Janophilia. She makes really good in-depth videos on topics tough to navigate. I especially enjoyed this deep dive she did on morally gray games and the attempts to banning them and all that, and our most recent video doing a deep dive on stop killing games and how necessary it is, how media used to be sold, the amount of games we've lost, and the impending doom of an all-digital future where we own nothing. It's a really great video. She does things in a unique perspective, and you guys should, by the way, check it out if you're interested. And it's stuff that is even more relevant right now with what's going on with payment processors, yet here she is with just 1,000 subscribers, with a channel that is over a year old. That's actually not that bad, honestly, but you get the point. For the effort and research that goes into this, it's an example that I like to give here of something that is kind of really good, but in obscurity, because that's just the YouTube game. I think that other creator who got boosted by Asmongold to over 100,000 subscribers in a couple of days is another example of this. I think her name was the background NPC. She could very well be in the exact same position that Jen's channel is. She had like 300 subscribers in a 1-month-old channel when Asmon got sent one of her videos. If he hadn't reacted to it, maybe she would be circling the 1,200 subscriber mark right now, maybe a bit more, maybe around 2,000 if she was making some more videos a bit faster. That's kind of what I think worked for me. Like in the beginning, it was literally doing nothing with my free time other than making video after video after video. In general though, I don't really know her content very well beyond the video that Asmon reacted to, but I think that that's a generous yet also conservative estimation. It is just what it is here on YouTube. It's not that these creators with less subscribers and views are automatically worse or bad and they deserve to get replaced anyway. It's just that shit takes time and improvement for you to get up there, or a shit ton of luck like getting reacted by Asmongold and getting 100,000 subscribers before YouTube even had time to monetize your channel. That's actually a really funny scenario to imagine. My lord, we must send out another silver plaque. What? To who? To this channel right here, my lord. Pfft, Jenkins, this channel doesn't even have a Google AdSense yet. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, wait a minute. What the fuck? How did this happen? It was the Roach King, my lord. Ah, yes, of course, the Roach King, of course. And so yeah, the truth is that with AI's overflowing content, it would straight up ruin the platform to begin with, and smaller channels would be buried. I also don't think that it would lead to better entertainment. AI is very hollow. And channels on YouTube really depend a lot on authenticity from its creators, that little tingle that makes you like the person and support their content, a little tingle that also makes you feel like dropping a comment in support of them, and some satisfaction at watching them grow in number. And anyway, similarly, just as it is with art, maybe you could scrape by a bit better as a YouTuber without millions of AI slop cluttering the platform. You could go slowly, improving the quality of your content, one video at a time, building yourself a little community that helps you get to more people. But of course, it's also just as much of a fact that, much like the whole situation with the artists, if there are YouTubers out there struggling like crazy, unable to crack through 1,000 subscribers, unable to get their channels to grow, and who need to do other things to actually sustain their lives, then they also have to come to terms with the reality of letting go of it instead of doing what artists are doing, which is like, hey, you should be, buying my shit instead. But anyway, I think that this is going to go well beyond artists too. Like, I think there's people and jobs out there that are going to be at much greater risk than artists. We just don't hear about them as much. Whenever this discussion comes up, it always turns to the artists because they start acting like they're being thrown into a fucking volcano or something, I don't know. But yeah, in general, I think this is going to be far bigger than just artists, and yeah, I mean, it's a bit scary. It's normal to be fearful of change, and one thing that I wish some people out there understood was just this angle of it. It's not that I don't see the advantages of AI, it's just that things are changing en masse, and there's no reason to crank up our cynical douchebag dials to maximum fury and not have at least a little bit of empathy and also a bit of common sense to understand this shit. It's like whenever automation came and took over and loads of families were rightfully worried about their futures if the man at the house got replaced by a machine. I went through that shit myself a bit when I was a kid. It impacted our lives a lot. A hell of a lot. So yeah, there's no problem with empathizing with people's concerns and fears for the huge changes that are coming, and I think this goes double with how fucked up life is on a regular basis. Like, the cost of living keeps rising, yet we are very likely entering a stage where many more people will be losing their jobs, and many of them are not going to be able to find other positions to replace them with. They'll be out of a job in an increasingly expensive world that keeps telling us to go out there, get a wife, put a baby in her, and raise a family, even though things are dark financially and looking even darker into the future. So yeah, sorry this last part here was just a bit of a vent for me, because trust me, I like laughing at morons saying ridiculous things like those screenshots that we just laughed at a few minutes ago. And I'm always going to defend the convenience of AI and the advancements that we might get from it. Some people like to mention cancer research, for example, as well as also defend the fact that people with small businesses are obviously going to use it instead of paying out the ass for a designer. But I'm not going to participate in this weird, nonchalant, careless, inhumane attitude of like, oh, you lost your job to AI? Too bad, should have been better at it. Like, bitch, what the fuck do you mean should have been better at it? It's like looking at a factory worker showing him a robot carrying a fucking car on its back and going, oh, sorry, Frank, you can't pick up a fucking car? Too bad. Should've hit the gym. Get the fuck out of my shop. So just a bit ago, I mentioned how when it comes to enjoying art casually, such as images, music, videos, movies, video games, etc., I like watching what people create. This is a big deal, especially when it comes to games. Some people's immediate counter-argument to this is something along the lines of, well, if AI is able to make something amazing and it's really good and you don't even notice the difference, then no, you're wrong, it doesn't matter who makes it, it only matters if it's good. But the thing is, I just don't believe that AI can do that. Like, I don't believe AI could ever create something like Witcher 3 or Red Dead Redemption 2 or any of the other amazing games, no matter how much it evolves. I mean, right now it could, of course, because they already exist, so it can just fucking copy and paste it beat for beat. But I'm talking about new stories, new games that are just as good as those were, or other stories and games in general that are just as unique and irreplaceable. Shit that just came out of nowhere and blew our minds, becoming our games of the year, like Expedition 33 for example this year, with its incredible unique stylish flair and story. And honestly so much more, guys. Like, we do a lot of roasting here in this channel, but there's still so many fantastic unique games out there made through boundless passionate creativity. And AI just lacks soul. I know that this sounds tacky as fuck, but it's just that I'm struggling to find the right word here. But I think you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. Originality, uniqueness, and meaning are major cornerstones of memorable games out there. AI is also very blatantly flat. It's what makes us sometimes be able to detect when something might be AI made from just hearing dialogue or just seeing the way that things move, or even just the style of the image itself. Usually the argument persists here. As AI gets better, you won't be able to tell a difference as easily. That's an infinite argument and it really has no possible counter. It's a hypothetical, and fair enough, it's a valid one because to some extent, yeah, we have seen it improve itself and make more and more realistic stuff, taking new things that artists come up with and adding it to its repertoire, which is able to mix and match elements to a near infinite degree of outcomes. And when it comes to stuff like deepfakes and generated stock photos, etc., it gets more accurate every day. But to be able to create something as perfect and meaningful as some of the best games that we've had over the years is a whole other dimension that we're crossing into. And another problem with AI, specifically when it comes to gaming, is that it enables a total slopification of content. I mean, look, if you're already so far gone that as a creative or a studio or whatever, you're just using AI to generate games, then chances are that you're too far gone to give a shit about quality. You're no longer trying to create art that means something, no longer trying to create a game that stands out, something that speaks to you with a vision behind it. Now all you're doing is cranking out the bare minimum to make profits off of a legacy IP that you bought, or a new IP, but copying shit from other famous IPs so that you can sell it off of that indirectly. It may not happen right away, but little by little, release after release, the decay of quality is going to be 100% noticeable, and this medium would be nothing nothing but a fucking husk of its former self. Just shiny lights with no substance. It's not that you can't generate engaging gameplay systems out of it, of course you can. And it can do that shit with infinite levels. But forget about unique experiences, forget about amazing stories, forget about meaningful acting, forget about varied artistic styles, etc. An argument I would accept instead of that is that we as a society are just going to get beaten down by AI slop garbage to the point where we just accept it by default, especially with each new generation of people coming along and getting more and more detached from the art that we used to have, and more used to the colorful slop that they'd be growing up with. In many ways, that's already happening now, parents just handing off their phones or tablets to their kids and playing some Cocomelon garbage to keep them occupied with brain rot. And of course, my friends, we have examples right now, right here in the games industry, at least in the AAA side of things. We can see how the quality has been, in general, declining. And while some of us are still here yelling at these companies, especially companies like Ubisoft for example, to stop making the same low effort shit over and over, there's still people out there eating it up and defending it because they either have zero standards or they're just young. A new untapped generation of kids who've been growing up with sloppy content without many titles that provide stories that make them stop in their tracks and make them think deeply or even fall in love. Stuff like the good old Metal Gear Solid series for example, or Deus Ex, or some older JRPG games like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy X, Chrono Trigger, etc. Other less old stuff but that is also kind of old anyways these days, like Fallout New Vegas, KOTOR, the Mass Effect trilogy, Neverwinter Nights, Half-Life, The Elder Scrolls, Halo, etc. You can't know what you're missing if you straight up don't have a frame of reference for it. That's why so many games these days, that's why it's so difficult. This might be a separate topic someday, but sometimes it's so difficult to do game reviews or to do game breakdowns because so many people these days are so used to the slop that they don't even see it. Games like those are very rare these days, more rare than it used to be at least, and even though it's also a fact that the industry is not healthy at the moment, the biggest reason why is not even necessarily because the games are worse and people aren't buying them. I mean, there are some extreme cases where that's precisely the problem, like Concord, Veilguard, Soy Squad, Saints Row 2022, etc. But it's more so because of the money that the industry wastes making these games in the first place, where even games that sell well and that are genuinely good like Final Fantasy XVI end up regarded as disappointments by their publishers or as games that barely broke even because of how much these companies spent on production. If the production costs were lower, they'd be doing fine, kinda like how Ubisoft was fine when they were destroying the Assassin's Creed and Far Cry franchises about 10 years ago. Assassin's Creed Origins sold just fine. Assassin's Creed Odyssey sold even more. Far Cry 5 did fine as well, and there was also a New Dawn spin-off too. I don't know how Far Cry 6 is doing, but you get the point. All of this was going on just fine despite these games being decent at best and having done away with the depth of their previous iterations. They were literally making their games worse title after title while making more money off of it. Only now do I see the general public finally waking up to the slopification of Ubisoft. I mean, really, some people out there have this whimsical view of AI in gaming, as if AI is going to create their dream games with a push of a button. I see these comments so often on the generated videos or pictures. Oh man, imagine when AI will be able to create a whole game like this. My brother, if you want to get the AI gaming experience, you can do it already. Just get a subscription to Ubisoft Connect and take your pick of their recent games over the last decade, give or take. Quickly developed, low focus, rehashed content with different settings to look at, and the stories never hit. There you go. Actually, never mind, it's better than AI by a little bit because at least they have composers that make great music for these games. That's another thing that I missed while talking about it just now. The music, for example, from Expedition 33, you couldn't get fucking AI to do that. You couldn't. It's too unique. You could be like, hey, AI, I want a soundtrack that sounds like the Expedition 33 soundtrack. You can do that shit now, but before it existed, you couldn't. There's no way. To this day, that fucking soundtrack in that game blows my mind. Like, it shouldn't fit. It shouldn't fit, but god damn it, it fits. But anyway, continuing with the point, we are, to some extent, conditioned to accept garbage content the more of it we are bombarded with. So if you want to use the argument that AI games are going to be, great, because we're going to get so used to soulless slop just to occupy ourselves with easily replicated brain rot in this weird dystopian future of ours that we're walking into, where we own nothing and must be subscribed to everything, then fine. But man, that shit is just sad. That's just fucking sad, because on its own, it cannot generate the epics that stick with us for all our lives. And it's also sad to see the way that some people give into this so easily. Again, those ridiculous comments of, if you get replaced by AI, you're not good enough, you're not worth it anyway. Being unable to realize the wall, like the solid concrete wall that we would hit. Never to see a surprise like Expedition 33, Baldur's Gate 3, Witcher 3, Red Dead Redemption, Resident Evil 4, Death Stranding, Dying Light, Deus Ex, Vampire the Masquerade, Metro, Halo, Dead Space, Dishonored, Dark Souls, Yakuza, Nier Replicant, Nier Automata, Bioshock, Metal Gear, Cyberpunk, etc. ever again, because human creativity and ingenuity would be gone. There's a lot of people out there who also have a huge misconception with AI games, to the point of cringe, honestly, where they make posts like these going, "Oh, check it out guys, look at my game that I'm making with AI." And then it's just a few seconds of fucking video generation made to look like a game, and you go on the comments, and it's just a bunch of people like, "Oh my god, bro, this is gonna be sick." Like, what? What are you talking about? You can't play it. There's no code. There's nothing to play. Yet posts like these roam certain areas of social media day in and day out. And don't get me wrong, they look like neat little videos to be like, "Oh look, imagine if there was a video game like this. Wouldn't it be cool?" But that's about it. I don't see where the hype is. And also, when people say a game like this would be cool, they're not talking about fucking walking around with some scenery on the side. Like, what the fuck are you smoking? Remember Anthem? We had a story in that game, we had Iron Man suits to wear and fly, we had gorgeous surroundings to fly through, and weapons to blast enemies with, and the game still failed. But then again, that was 2019, and even though 2019 feels just like yesterday, it was actually 6 years ago. I don't know how much brain rot has eroded people's brains already by now. Like, it makes me very sad to even think about this concept, because back in that time, people would look at a game like that and be like, "No, I'm sorry, this is not enough, this is not what we expect out of BioWare, this is not what the fuck we want." But now, 6 years later, we're looking at these clips and we're shitting our pants. What the fuck, what are we doing here? The funniest thing is that one of those clips actually reminds me of The Order 1886, which is yet another game that got spit roasted because it costed like $60 at launch and it was only 6 hours long. And the boss fights were terrible. Enemies would just come running at you, you would shoot at them, then they would scurry away. Then in other boss fights you had like the same copy-pasted boss fight fighting a werewolf with quick time events. People rejected that as well, but maybe now they wouldn't. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe now they would see that and somebody would tell them, "I made this with AI," and they would go, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Stick it into my veins, please." And by the way, this is more so regarding AI generation. I'm not saying that AI being used as a tool for developers to be able to do their work with less hassle would be bad. In fact, I think this may also be totally inevitable. AI as a tool is probably going to take over most fields that require any kind of computer use at all. It's a great tool for that, and at some point I think that it's just going to be a strict requirement where if you are one of these people who demonize it completely and don't want to use it at all, you're probably going to be struggling to get a job. Because it's kind of like if you are, for example, in construction or doing a maintenance job and you can either take a manual screwdriver with you or an electric screwdriver. Obviously you're going to need the electric one if you want to compete, because if you don't, your competitors or colleagues are going to be like 10 times faster than you and then you're cooked. Of course, I foresee a lot of complications with this too, though, you know, that's AI for you. Again, it just is what it is. Some really great advantages, but also also a bundle of problems and dangers, some of which we just touched on, and I foresee big issues in gaming because of greedy-ass companies like EA, Ubisoft, 2K, Activision, etc. salivating at the thought of AI replacing as much of their workforce as possible to cut costs and development time in the creation of more slop that they're going to be pricing at $80 anyway, or more, because of course they will. But hey, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, I guess.
Where are they? Oh, for fuck's no, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not going near that shit.
It sounds like a really stupid idea, obviously, but since when has that stopped publishers from doing it anyway? That's what they do best. That's why they're still collectively spending billions of dollars trying to make the next major live service game to compete with GTA Online, Warzone, and Fortnite. They never stop. They always fail, then they have to do layoffs, it's a whole mess, but then they do it again. But on a smaller scale, and with moderation and smarts, I think AI would be a really good tool for indie developers, especially, for example, to check for errors in their code, to simulate shit that they can then correct and tweak and maybe use, or replicate stuff that they just made and need it replicated and would consume a lot of their time, and AI can just get it faster. Just another example where at the end of the day, it's not the tool that is an inherent problem, it's the user and their intentions. But if you release an indie game and you warn people that AI has been used for some aspects of it, these kinds of people who relentlessly attacked Markiplier will come out of the woodwork to sink your game too. And sadly, gaming media outlets like IGN, Polygon, The Gamer, etc. are adamantly against it too, so you run the risk of becoming infamous for doing it. I know some indie game developers watch my videos, and it would be cool to know you guys' perspectives in the comments. Would you use it as a tool, or do you just avoid it completely? And if so, let me know why. Comment down below.
I'm on your side, but I'm more of the alignment with the awareness part of it. The awareness is important, and I think that the gut reaction to hide, I can understand it, but also I feel, and I'm not saying that people are hiding from it, that's not what it is. I get the wanting to boycott it, I understand that, and I think that there is something to be said about that. However, we're all up against these giant mega corporations, and they're not going to stop. But that doesn't mean it's hopeless. It was another part of this stream that I talked about how it's not hopeless.
The thing is that it is actually pretty hopeless when people act like total fucking animals about it. All they're going to do is push normal people away by putting their full, no-holds-barred, unhinged extremism on display, where they draw a gigantic line in the sand across AI entirely, without the ability to engage in any common sense discussion about the topic, without knowing anything that they're talking about, just shouting random misinformed garbage that they read on some shithole corner of Reddit, and with this insane hostility that'll have them justifying death threats, even if it's against someone who is on their side but is just fucking moderate and not stupid. This is just looking like that ridiculous Hogwarts Legacy drama all over again, where progressives brigaded on content creators and random people on social media who were just trying to enjoy a video game in peace and quiet. All it did in the end was irreparably damage their community, showing that that facade of kindness, tolerance, acceptance, etc. was just that, a facade. A mask that as soon as it slipped showed an unbounded, blind rage against everyone regardless of context. This isn't how we solve problems or raise awareness to issues or get people to think about a plea. Some like to say that raising awareness is useless because it leads nowhere and action must be taken instead. But if it leads nowhere, maybe it's time to start considering the reality that maybe you're wrong about the intensity that you've given an issue, and it's time to chill the fuck out and reassess it instead of terrorizing people. We truly live in clown world, man. I don't know how it ever got this bad, guys, I swear. Jesus. But anyway, that is the end of this long-ass video discussing AI and having a bit of a nice time with the latest failed attempt at canceling Markiplier. Leave a comment down below, let me know, what do you think will be the theme of Markiplier's next cancellation attempt? Personally, I think it's going to be about cheese. Like maybe he'll mislabel some cheese and people are just going to come out like, oh my god, I can't believe he could do such a thing, this is blatant dairy appropriation. Either way, fellas, I'll see you guys in the next video. Click the like button if you enjoyed the AI journey, subscribe if you're new, and take care of yourselves.